Hello students, I am Dr. Bindu, an assistant professor of zoology at Srimati Aruna Asaf Ali Government PG College Kalka. In this video lecture, we will discuss about the life cycle of Obelia, which is an organism belonging to phylum Coelenterata. The life cycle has been recorded in two parts. This is part 1, in which we will discuss habit and habitat of Obelia, its morphology, its histology, where types of cells will be discussed, different types of zooids which are present in Obelia, and its physiology, in which we will talk about the modes of locomotion, nutrition, excretion, respiration, and the type of nervous system which is present in Obelia. In part 2, life cycle of Obelia will be discussed. The link for second video is given here, in which the asexual and sexual mode of reproduction will be discussed, and alternation of generation, which is also called as metagenesis in Coelenterata, is discussed. Systematically, Obelia belongs to phylum Coelenterata. It is called as Coelenterata because they bear a body cavity known as coelentron. It is also called as gastrovascular cavity because it works both for digestion of food and circulation of food. That is why it is called as gastrovascular cavity. Coelenterata phylum is also known as Cnidaria because they have special type of cells called as cnidoplast cells. Obelia belongs to class Hydrozoa because they have both polyp and medusa forms in their life cycle. They belong to order Hydroida because polyp form is more dominant than medusa form. Medusa is short-lived in case of Obelia. It belongs to suborder Thecata or Leptomedusae because they bear an extra covering called as theca. During this lecture, we will be discussing the Geniculata species of genus Obelia. Other than Obelia geniculata, Obelia longissima, Obelia dichotoma, and Obelia bidentata are commonly known species of Obelia. As the name suggests, longissima is the longest. It might reach up to the height of 20 to 35 cm, while Obelia geniculata, they reach up to the height of 2.5 to 3 cm. Obelia dichotoma is also long, but it does not reach the extreme height of longissima. Moreover, they can be distinguished from longissima as they usually grow in rock pools. Obelia bidentata has multiple branched stems even when the colony is young. All organisms belonging to phylum Coelenterata, they are aquatic. Most of the species are marine, only a few species are found in fresh waters also. Obelia is also marine, which means it is found in seawater. Obelia is a polymorphic colonial organism, which means colonies of Obelia, they have more than one type of organisms in the colonies. If we talk about its distribution, it is almost cosmopolitan. Only exception being the high Arctic and Antarctic seas where the temperature is very low. Inside a water body, they grow in shallow waters in intertidal rock pools. They are usually found up to 80 to 100 meters of depth from water surface. The medusa stage, which can move by itself, is commonly found in coastal and offshore waters also. So now we know Obelia is marine, it is found in seawater up to the height of 80 to 100 meters. How? The colonies are attached to substratum, and that substratum can be rocks, stones, mollusk shells, seaweeds, or even wooden pilings. Obelia geniculata, it very commonly grows on a seaweed known as Laminaria hyperborea. This diagram shows Obelia geniculata colony on a seaweed. This is Obelia longissima, grown on a sea bottom, and this is Obelia geniculata, which is growing on mollusk shell. The colonies of Obelia, they often give appearance of delicate fur-like growths. That is why Obelia is also known as sea fur. Further in this video, we will learn the morphology of Obelia or the detailed structure of its components. Obelia is a very small marine organism. It looks like a small branching tree of whitish or brownish color. The body of Obelia consists of two kinds of filaments, horizontal hydrorhiza and vertical hydrocoelus. Hydrorhiza are like the roots of colony. They help in attachment to the substratum and expansion of colony. Hydrocoelus are the main filaments, vertical, on which the polyp, medusa and blastostyles are present. In this image, a part of colony is shown where we can see that hydrocoelus branches alternately and bears various forms. The various forms which are present in the colony of Obelia are polyps, always present at terminal positions, blastostyles, which are present at axillary positions. Axillary position is the position where polyp branches off from hydrocoelus. These are axils. Blastostyles are present at axillary positions, and medusa, they develop inside these blastostyles. As we can see, round structures inside these club shaped blastostyles. These polyps, they are nutritive in function, which means they feed on organisms and provide nutrition to the whole colony. These are also called as gastrozooids. These blastostyles, they asexually reproduce and they form medusa inside. They are also called as gonozooids or blastozooids. The medusa developing inside blastostyles, they once they come out of blastostyle, they reproduce sexually and they help in dispersal of Obelia colonies. Now that we are talking about the structure, there are two important terms, coenosarc and perisarc. Coenosarc is the living tissue in Obelia colony, which is comprising the body wall. Perisarc is the outer non-living layer. It is chitinous in nature. The perisarc around polyp is called as hydrotheca, and the perisarc around blastostyles is known as gonotheca. So a polyp with its hydrotheca is also called as hydranth, and a blastostyle with its gonotheca, this combined structure is also known as gonangium. Perisarc is also turned into ring-like structures at the base of blastostyles and polyps. These ring-like structures are called as annuli. They provide extra flexibility to the colony at the time of heavy water currents. As I told, coenosarc is the living tissue of Obelia colony. It is also called as coenokine. It is diploblastic, which means made up of two layers, outer epidermis and inner gastrodermis. Mesoderm is absent in Coelenterata. But in between epidermis and gastrodermis, a non-cellular layer called as mesoglia is present. Coenosarc makes the body wall, and inside the body wall, a cavity in the form of canal is present. That canal is called as coenosarcal canal. The coenosarcal canal, it runs through whole colony of Obelia and it connects the gastrovascular cavity of all the polyps and blastostyles. There is a significance of connection. As the polyps can feed and blastostyles cannot feed, it helps in transport of digested food throughout the colony. The outermost layer of xenosarc or body wall is epidermis. It is thin and made up of typical cells of Coelenterata, which include myoepithelial or epitheliomuscular cells. These are known as myoepithelial cells because they work both as epithelial cells and muscle cells. So they play a role in both protection and contraction. Other than myoepithelial cells in epidermis, there are interstitial cells which are like totipotent cells, and they divide and differentiate into different cells of epidermis. Other than those, there are sensory cells which are embedded in between myoepithelial cells. The function of sensory cells is to sense the water and the surrounding environment. There are nerve cells which are present in between the layer of epidermis and gastrodermis. There are special type of cells known as nematoblast or nidoblast or nematocytes, and in common language stinging cells. These special cells are the peculiar characteristic of phylum Coelenterata or Cnidaria. The nidoblast cells in obelia are present among myoepithelial cells on surface, and they make annular batteries on tentacles. Annular batteries are the groups of nidoblast cells which are present on tentacles. If we talk about the detailed structure of a nidoblast cell, it includes contractile cytoplasm. Mostly the nucleus is pushed towards periphery, and that's why it is called as eccentric nucleus. There is a structure which is called as nidocyl. It helps in receiving the trigger. The nematocyst, which is the capsule-like structure and includes the thread which bears the spines. It has an operculum, which is the lid-like structure. Normally, the nidoblast cells, they are closed, but whenever a prey or an enemy is nearby, it helps in triggering. The trigger can be mechanical as well as chemical. If something touches this nidocyl or trigger, the operculum will open, the capsule will come out, and the thread bearing spines will be thrown towards prey or the enemy. The spines on thread will introduce either excruciating pain or the toxin which can paralyze the enemy or the prey. So these nidoblast cells, they are offensive as well as defensive in nature. They help in paralyzing the prey, and then the polyps in the colony feed on that prey. Mostly the chemical stimulant is glutathione. This glutathione is secreted by living cells. So whenever a living organism is nearby a coelenterate bearing nidoblast cell, it gets triggered, and the nidoblast cells, they open up and they introduce spines and toxins either to offend the prey or the enemy or to capture the prey. The inner layer in body wall is gastrodermis. It forms the lining of gastrovascular cavity. The cavity is known as gastrovascular, which I have already explained because it functions both in digestion as well as in circulation. The gastrodermis consists of five types of cells. Myoendothelial or endotheliomuscular cells, they have dual function. They act as absorptive cells as well as contractive cells. Gland cells, they secrete mucus and various other secretions. Interstitial cells, just like the interstitial cells which are present in epidermis, these are also totipotent, and they give rise to various other cells of gastrodermis. Sensory cells and nerve cells, they make whatever part of uh, nervous system is present in Obelia colony. Sensory cells, they are embedded in between myoendothelial cells, and nerve cells, they form a network like structure at the base of gastrodermis. Here comes an important phenomena known as polymorphism in coelentrates. Polymorphism is a phenomena in which a colonial organism is formed of many types of organisms, which are also called as zooids, which differ in structure and function for the benefit of whole colony. This definition means that when in a colony there are more than one type of organism, it is called as polymorphism. As the name polymorphism means, poly means many, morphs means structures. So, an organism's colony which bears many structures. In case of Obelia, three structures are present. So, the colony of Obelia is trimorphic. Those three structures are polyp or the gastrozooid, blastostyle or the gonozooid, medusa or the gonophore. Now we will discuss the structure of these zooids in detail. An individual polyp or gastrozooid looks like an hydra. It is tubular in structure and diploblastic, which means it is made up of two layers of cells, outer ectoderm and inner endoderm. From ectoderm, epidermis is derived, and from endoderm, gastrodermis is derived. Epidermis is protective in function, gastrodermis is absorptive in function. In between epidermis and gastrodermis, a thin layer mesoglea is present, which is not mesoderm derived. Mesoderm is absent in case of coelenterata. Distal end of polyp is produced into a conical elevation which is called as manubrium or hypostome. The manubrium bears a terminal mouth which is encircled by numerous long solid tentacles which are often 24 in number. They are loaded with special type of cells, nematoblasts, and the nematoblast on tentacles are found in groups. Those are known as annular batteries. The perisarc of polyp is also called as hydrotheca. It is transparent and cup shaped, invaginated as a platform or shelf at the base of gastrozooid. The gastrozooid and hydrotheca combined, they are known as hydranth. In case of emergent situations or when the polyp is not feeding, this polyp can retract itself into hydrotheca and the tentacles fold over manubrium, covering the mouth. The presence of shelf prevents the polyp to retract further into hydrocolus. So the polyp remains inside this cup-like structure. The annuli at the base of this cup, they help in allowing the swaying movements due to force of water currents. They provide flexibility to the colony and they avoid damage due to heavy water currents. The next structure in the colony of Obelia is blastostyle, which is also known as gonozooid or blastozooids. These are cylindrical rod-like structures which are reproductive in function. They are present at axils of hydrocolus. Compared to polyps or gastrozooids, the number of gonozooids are less because blastostyles are present only at the upper parts of colony or proximal parts of the colony. The gonozooids, they are exclusively reproductive in function. They do not feed as they do not have mouth or tentacles. But the perisarc around blastostyle, it surely has an opening outside which is known as gonophore. So please do not confuse gonopore as mouth of blastocyle. This is not mouth of blastocyle. This is opening of perisarc around blastocyle, which is also known as gonotheca. Blastocyle itself does not have any mouth or tentacles. The blastocyle, by asexual process of budding, it produces many obelia. When fully mature, these obelia they will detach from blastocyle and escape the colony through gonopore and will come out into the surrounding water. The gonozooid or the blastocyle, gonophore, the medusa on blastocyle, gonotheca, the covering outside gonozooid. These collectively known as gonangium. The next structure in the colony of obelia is medusa and also known as gonophore. The medusae are radially symmetrical umbrella or bell-shaped structures which measures approximately 6 to 7 millimeter in diameter. This is a medusa in oral view and this is a medusa in lateral view. The outer convex structure is known as exumbellar surface and the inner concave surface is known as subumbellar surface. The medusa in case of obelia is crespidot type, which means it bears velum, although rudimentary, but the medusa in obelia it bears velum. Now what is velum? Velum is a fold-like structure which hangs from the margins of medusa. The margins bear initially 16 short contractile tentacles. The tentacles can be named as per their position. Those tentacles which are present at the radial canals, they are known as perradial. The tentacles present between perradial tentacles, they are known as interradial. And those which are present in between perradial and interradial, they are known as adradial. So in one medusa, young medusa, there are 4 perradial tentacles, 4 interradial tentacles, and there are 8 adradial tentacles, which makes 16 total tentacles. But as the size and age of medusa increases, the number of tentacles also increases. Like polyp, medusa also bear manubrium and a mouth. But mouth in case of medusa is quadrangular, which means it has 4 angles and it hangs from the center of subumbellar surface of medusa. If we look at a longitudinal section through medusa, this is how a common hydrozone medusa appears. It has a quadrangular mouth which leads into manubrium or hypostome. From manubrium or hypostome, it leads into gastrovascular cavity of stomach, which is a wide structure in case of medusa. From the stomach, there arises 4 radial canals. These radial canals, they meet with a circular canal which is present at the periphery. So, whenever a medusa eats, the food goes from mouth into hypostome, into stomach, radial canals, and then into margins of this umbrella through circular canal. Just like the polyp, in case of medusa also there are 2 layers, inner gastrodermis and outer epidermis. In between gastrodermis and epidermis there is mesoglea. In case of medusa, there is nervous system present in the form of 2 nerve rings. The tentacles are loaded with nematocysts known as annular batteries. Further in this video, we will discuss the various physiological processes of obelia like locomotion, nutrition, respiration and excretion. If we talk about locomotion in polyp, it is absent. But yes, the polyps or the Obelia colony, they can display swaying movements. As we have already discussed, that the perisarc around the base of polyp and blastostyle, it modifies into ring-like structures which are known as annuli, and these annuli, they provide flexibility and hence they assist in swaying movement of polyps and blastostyles in water currents. Polyps can also undergo contraction and extension because of presence of longitudinal and circular muscles in their body wall. By this contraction and extension process, they also capture their prey and ingest it. Locomotion in medusa is, yes, it is present, and they move by a principle of hydropropulsion. The medusae can swim in water by jet propulsion method. The contraction and expansion of their bell muscles alternately closes and opens the bell, which forces water out of submarine surface cavity and propels the body in upward direction. The medusa can also move by passive drifting by doing nothing from one place to another. They are simply taken by water currents. You can watch the beautiful movement of in Obelia colony and the movement of Medusa by clicking on this uh, video link in YouTube, or you can copy and paste this link in YouTube and watch the video. If we talk about nutrition in Obelia, it is holozoic, or they ingest food through mouth. They are carnivorous and feed on small insects, larvae, crustaceans, and worms. The digestion is mostly intracellular and partly intercellular. Intracellular means within the cell, and intercellular means between the cells. This is a peculiar feature of phylum Coelenterata where the digestion is both intracellular and intercellular. Digestive system is incomplete because alimentary canal is incomplete. Only mouth is present in case of coelentrates, no anus is present. The medusae, they start feeding once they are released in water from blastostyles. Food is captured by their highly extensible mouth and then taken into hypostome or gullet. From the gullet, it is transferred into stomach, which is large in size. The food is digested into stomach by digestive enzymes, and the digested food is then circulated through radial canals into circular canals. In case of polyp, food is captured with the help of tentacles bearing batteries of nematoblast cells. These nematoblast cells, they kill the potential food, and tentacles, they get the food inside the mouth. The gland cells present in gastrodermis, they release gastric juices or digestive juices within this gastrovascular cavity. These gastric juices, they break the food into smaller pieces and partly digest it. The partly digested food is then taken inside the musculoendothelial or musculonutritive cells and digested further. This digested food is absorbed and circulated throughout the colony by the flagellated cells which are present in gastrodermis. In this way, these polyps, they help in feeding and nourishing the whole colony. The nervous system in case of Obelia, or we can say Coelenterata, is also of peculiar types. In organisms which bear radial symmetry like Coelenterata, there is no centralized nervous system. Rather, like in polyps, there is diffused network of nerve cells which is present just below the epidermis, just in between the epidermis and gastrodermis. That is why the nervous system is known as diffused type. These nerve cells are interconnected by each other, and the nerve cells of two different layers are also interconnected with each other by joining of their ends, and that is why it is also known as plexiform type. The nerve cells are connected with muscle cells and they mediate the contraction, and they are also connected with nidoblast cells and they help in capturing the prey or in defending the colony when the need arises. In case of medusa, there are two nerve rings present at the bell margins, inner nerve ring and outer nerve ring. They also function just like the nerve nets in case of polyps. The polyps, which are attached to the branches of hydrocolus, they do not have any specialized sense organs. But medusa, because they are free swimming, they have well developed sensory organs in the form of stetocyst. There are eight such receptor organs called as stetocysts, which are present at the base of eight adradial tentacles. Stetocysts are the organs of balance, muscle coordination, and equilibrium. If we talk about the structure of stetocyst, each stetocyst is formed of a fluid-filled sac which is lined by a single layer of epidermal cells. These epidermal cells of stetocyst, which are in contact with subumbellar surface, they are sensory in nature. They give sensory processes which surround a calcareous body and which is known as statolith. Medusa is in perfect balance. Statolith lies in the center of stetocyst due to center of gravity and moves vertically, so statolith is not touching the sensory processes. But when medusa is tilted on one side, statolith falls on the sensory processes of tilted side and initiates the sensory nerve impulse which are conducted to the muscle cells. Through nerve cells of outer and inner nerve ring, the muscle cells will receive message and they'll contract and restore the equilibrium. And this is how the stetocysts they help in maintaining the balance and equilibrium while swimming in medusa. The next physiological process is respiration. In obelia, there are no respiratory organs. Gas exchange takes place by diffusion through the general body surface. Oxygen diffuses directly from surrounding water into the epidermal cells and carbon dioxide is diffused out. Excretion, which is process of removal of nitrogenous waste from body. There are no special organs for excretion in case of obelia. The nitrogenous waste they diffuse out into the water through external as well as internal surfaces. As there is only one opening, that is mouth, in both polyp and medusa, waste released inside are thrown out of the mouth. Reproduction in obelia takes place both by asexual as well as sexual means. The medusae are produced from the blastostyle by the process of budding, which is asexual reproduction, and the medusae itself shows sexual reproduction. There are four gonads in each medusa which are per-radial in position. The medusae are unisexual, or we can say dioecious in nature, which means that male medusae and female medusae they are different, separate organisms. But we cannot identify that this medusa is male and this medusa is female, or we can say the sexual dimorphism in case of obelia medusae it is absent. The gonads in medusa they mature after it is released from the blastostyle. Each gonad has an outer ectoderm and inner gastodermis. Ectoderm of gonad is in continuation with ectoderm of subumbellar surface, while gastodermis of gonad is in continuation with gastodermis of radial canals. The germ cells are not produced in gonads. In fact, they arise from the ectoderm of blastostyle while the medusa is still attached to the blastostyle. When the gonads mature, epidermis ruptures and the sperm and ova are released in water. Sperms are minute and flagellated, with the help of which they actively swim in water. But the ova, they are large and rounded cells which may either be released in water for fertilization or they may remain within the gonads and are fertilized by the incoming sperm there itself by incoming water currents. Further, the process of reproduction in Obelia, its life cycle, and the alternation of generation has been discussed in the second video. You can find the second video by copy and pasting this link in YouTube or just by clicking on this link.